What's up, Kyuzou here, and we're gonna do a quick build diary about cast on crit Volatile Dead. So the clear is very satisfying, the single target is very nice, the survivability is kinda mid-range, it is very cheap to start with, so I'm gonna roll some footage in the background before we go over the gear and tree, and for the headhunter haters, I will be showing you a map clear without it, but all it really does is add some movement speed, really. Right, so we're pretty much only using one key item, and that is a shaped exquisite blade with the mod socketed gems are supported by level X cast on critical strike. So the difference between level 18 and 20 is you get a tiny bit more multiplier. It's like 2 or 4% difference. So Soccer Gem supported by Cast on Crit is literally the only thing we actually need to get the build going. We also want hits can't be evaded, and this is so that we can avoid building around accuracy. So the ideal weapon should be something like Cast on Crit with attack speed, and then we multi-mod hits cannot be evaded along with spell damage. So I kept on hitting damage penetrates elemental resistances, which basically blocks the last prefix that we need, and it took a really long time to hit cast on crit with alteration, so I didn't really want to try and hit it with an annul. But honestly, pen is, I would say it's fairly even to spell damage. So our gem setup here is Cyclone with Desecrate, Volatile Dead, Inspiration, Spell Cascade, and Power Charge on Crit. So because I crafted increased crit, I decided I did not need increased critical strikes. I'm currently sitting at 36% chance to crit, and with increased crit we're up to 54%. But with all the power charges, I'm actually hitting like 98%. And on Volatile Dead, I'm basically hitting like around 60% chance to crit, I think, with power charge and crit. So, as an assassin, I mean, we're also with an assassin's mark ring. We are hitting power charges pretty easily without it, so we don't need the power charge on crit for the power charge generation. However, we do get 4% more damage per power charge. which is giving me something like 28% more damage at max power charges. We got a Comb's Heart because we don't really need a second 6-link, and this also has increased fire damage. My life pool is also very low even with it, so yeah. We got a helmet with Volatile Dead enchant. We don't really need the enchant. Most importantly, we kind of want the nearby enemies have negative fire resistance, which isn't really a deal breaker either, but yeah, something like that. We got a crit multi amulet. I really wish I could get more attributes on this than what I have, but it is what it is. I went out of my way to get a Assassin's Mark ring. We don't really need the Assassin's Mark. As for power charge generation, we have that sorted by 2 other things, our Ascendancy and the gem. I just really wanted it, but we could do like a curse on hit, wave of conviction, flammability instead, because we only really need curses on bosses basically. Second ring is mostly to boost up my strengths, because we need 191 strengths to wear the combs. It's got some all res that apparently I didn't actually need. I ended up getting way too much resist. I had far more lightning rest, but I swapped my boot recently yesterday. The life gain on hit on spells is really nice when you have a billion balls flying towards mobs. My gloves, just triple rest with life and a bonus spell damage. And like I said, I swapped my boots. I went out of my way to craft Tailwind boots, so this is also where I get my Onslaught. We don't really need the Tailwind, but it does provide some additional movement speed. I just realized I kind of forgot to show you the rest of the gem setup. So we got a cast damage taken with Immortal Call. We got Cellar Tree with Summon Skitterbots. So Summon Skitterbots will shock and chill everything around us. So the shock is going to provide some extra damage taken. Over here I have Wave of Conviction with Combustion and added fire. Like I said, you could do Wave of Conviction, Curse on hit with flammability instead, along with maybe Combustion. The only reason I have added fire is because Headhunter seems to be... it seems to like to add a ton of extra added lightning to my Wave of Conviction. I think I'm blocking like most of it there, but yeah, so currently I do have more fire than lightning, but the Headhunter likes to steal added lightning or whatever. So yeah, the added fire is to make sure that I'm definitely getting the fire exposure and not lightning exposure. And over here we have Withering Step with Arcane Surge, Flame Dash, and Second Wind. Withering Step is just basically face run, but a better face run. So before we move over to the tree, I know people like to ask, so I'm using a Colossus Sword with Conquest Weapon Effect and the Cult of Apocalypse set. Alright, so Ascendancy is like cookie cutter assassin stuff. We get Mistwalker, Unstable Infusion, Deadly Infusion, and Opportunistic. The tree is very cookie cutter, cast on crit. We grab like all the power charges, we grab like all the crit multi, we grab Snowforge because we're dealing fire damage, we're grabbing Firewalker because we're dealing fire damage. Power charge over here, crit multi, more crit multi over here. We also have Face Acro, which is basically my only defense at this point. I have actually before we do that, so I went for Doomcast over Heart of Flame. So Heart of Flame gives us a nice, some nice fire damage. It's like 1 or 2 extra passives to read this than it is to get to Doomcast. But Doomcast is going to give me a bit more spell crit, because I'm not using increased critical strike. I'm also getting a bit more crit multi for Volatile Dead. So we're using a double Watcher's Eye, double Cellar Tree. Consecrated ground you create while affected by Cellar Tree causes enemies to take 9% increased damage. and critical strikes penetrates 10% of enemy elemental resistance while affected by Celerity. So the Ellie pen is the important one, I'd say. Individually, both of these are very cheap. Combined, I honestly don't remember what I paid. I might have paid around 10 exalts, maybe less. But yeah, individually they are very cheap. Rest of my jewels, like normal, you want double crit multi with increased maximum life. So this would be global crit multi with fire, crit multi with elemental, crit multi with spell. I got my second one here, which is a crit multi with spell and Ellie with increased max life. I am also using a Militant Face Timeless Jewel, which gives me Inner Conviction, which gives me 3% more spell damage per power charge, which is an additional 21% more damage, and then combined with the power charge on crit, we're at like 49% more damage. I also anointed Overcharge over here. You could anoint other things like Heart of Flame, I guess, if you don't really want the extra power charge, or you could go with Constitution. You could go with Soul of Steel. You know, you have so many options. But I just wanted as many power charges as possible, mostly because of Inner Conviction and power charge on crit. The clusters we're using is using a large increased fire damage with Doriani's Lesson for some extra leech and Ellie damage. We also get Smoking Remains, which gives us increased fire damage and also chance to create a smoke cloud on kill, which blinds enemies around us. And then we have Prismatic Heart, which gives all res and some extra Ellie damage. And then I have two mediums with Quick Getaway and Pressure Point. So Quick Getaway, we get increased attack and cast speed, attack speed to move faster. We also get movement speed if you dealt a crit recently, which also, yeah, Zoom. We get a tiny bit of crit, which doesn't really do a whole lot. We also get Pressure Point, which gives us a 5% chance to deal double damage, and with two of these we get 10%. And again, we also get a tiny bit of crit. I'm also rocking 2 Surging Vitality. I was using, first I was using 2 Surging Vitalities because that's all I had. I then went with Fettle, but Fettle doesn't really boost the life pool that much impressively, and 2 Surging Vitalities is actually pretty nice. I suppose I could show you that in action if we buy a Righteous Fire, so we can actually lose life somehow. I'll put it in there, I guess. So we're just going to lose all our lives. So it's not that super impressive, but you can see it's stopping the Righteous Fire for even a little bit there. So this is basically all the life regen I have. So every 5 seconds, boop. So the Surging Vitality along with the life gain on hit is actually really nice. So if I take like half my damage, I don't really have to hit my flask most of the time. And that is the build. I'll try to remember to actually post a passive building because I seem to forget that. So I have like, again, I have like this list of videos to make, but I'm also very busy like outside of Passive Exile, so I haven't really been able to do as many videos as I've hoped or promised. I also meant to upload the video, well, an edited video of me opening 1,500 stacked deck cards. However, that VOD ended up being 4 hours long, so that is going to take a full day of editing, probably. And again, I just have so much on the side that I really need to do, so we'll see when I get to it. At least you're getting something. Bye!